Hello, everybody. I'm here with my colleague and friend JC, and we're going to carry on our conversation that we have been putting onto YouTube over the last week or so. So last week we were talking about, or in the last couple of clips, we were talking about The Wizard of Oz and is AI the yellow brick road journey that we're on. And we want to extend that conversation a little bit today by using another film reference, which is The Little Shop of Horrors. And we were talking last time around Dorothy and the aspects of Dorothy that she found out about herself. And today it's really a similar question. When we're using AI, are we feeding it or is it feeding us? In other words, thinking about the Little Shop of Horrors. For those of you who don't know about that film, I'll put a link in the YouTube clips so you can find out a little bit about it. But it's essentially about a man who finds a space plant and he feeds it. The plant is called Seymour. So when we talk about Seymour, you'll understand what we're talking about. And this thing grows and grows and grows and grows and sort of takes over. And this may be relevant to AI. Are we feeding AI or is AI feeding us? Which of us is Seymour and where is that whole thing going to go? So, JC, I know we've talked a little bit about this. So what are your thoughts?
Well, you know, I love the concept of thinking of a living creature that gets out of control, right? That's the gist of the story. Is it's a point of interest and fascination. He starts out as this small, almost adorable thing,
Yeah, tiny little bit. Yeah,
but the main aspect though is that it's a carnivorous plant, so he's feeding it, animal matter. It wants blood, right? That's the little shop of horrors. That's the horror part of
yeah,
it. Is this carnivorous plant wants blood, and he has to feed it larger and larger things until it's essentially consuming humans, and he has to the only justification he has is the fear he has of not feeding it. Like if he because it's a feed me Seymour,
yeah.
and that's I think Seymour is the name of the guy, right? And not the plant.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yes,
Yeah, so
right.
yeah, because I remember the phrase is "feed me Seymour." That's
Mm.
so I can't remember if the plant had a name or not. I don't know if it was given a name in the story. I haven't seen. I think the last thing I saw was many many years ago, and I think it was Rick Morales or something was one of the actors that was in that's like a musical version of it or
Mm.
something. I can't remember now, but anyway, the whole point is though is that Seymour is feeding his plant, and it's getting bigger and bigger, and it's carnivorous. It's insatiable, right? It's just getting bigger, and it's asking for more and more. And his whole reason behind doing it is just his fear of being eaten himself or something. I'm not sure
Yeah,
exactly what his justification is, but you know, people look at AI, and you see these comments and articles, and there's especially in places like TikTok and YouTube, you'll see a lot of people with very fast, very emotional based clips saying that, oh, did you hear about this amazing tech wizard genius person who's scared of AI because they were in a room with a special AI they were developing, and it was absolutely sentient, and it knew things, and it thought things, and it felt things. They were just 100% positive that the AI that they developed is like a human essentially, and supposedly being like a human is scary for people. Like that's the part I find hilarious. Like, wow, it's sentient. It thinks and it feels like we do. I'm like, okay, great, welcome to the planet.
mm.
But instead they're like, no, that's scary because it's going to destroy us. Everybody's under the impression, like I think it was even Stephen Hawking's, if I remember correctly, that was under the impression that if any alien entities ever came to the planet, that their whole intention would be to destroy us, to take our resources and destroy us. There would not be like I know you love to bring up things like Star Trek and Star Wars and all the sci-fi stuff. In Star Trek, obviously, it's a federation of planets, and there's
Yeah,
there's unity and there's peace, except for in the far reaches of the galaxy where there's still a few warring alien nations that were either we battle them to keep them from taking over the universe, or we try to convince them to be peaceful themselves. And it's this alien plant, that Seymour is feeding is like the introduction to something foreign for us, and its sentience, its ability to think and to feel is is one thing, but then its insatiable desire to consume us, is the scary part. And so people are like, it's going to eat us alive. It's going to launch Armageddon and destroy all of humanity, and that's what they're scared of if it has any form of sentience to it. And I'm just not sure why. I mean, like, all of us are sentient. The whole planet is full of sentient beings walking around, growing up, and doing things. And many of those sentient beings have um, very positive as well as very negative intentions for the world, right? There's good and bad human beings, tons of sentience, tons of people all over the world, and there is corruption, but there's also goodness, and everybody's doing okay with all these sentient beings walking around. Why is AI so scary as a sentient being to us? If it's going to become that way, or if it happens to be that way already and we don't realize it, it doesn't matter because it's just another one of us, right? I mean, that's the idea.
But it could be the other way around. Couldn't it? I mean, it could be that we are the plant
Hmm.
and Seymour is the AI, and we're the plant saying, "Feed me, feed me, feed me," because we are the insatiable ones that just want all the content, and we don't care where it comes from, and we don't question where it comes from. We just consume it. We grow, but we don't necessarily grow in the right way, and then we become the monster who is being fed by Seymour, and I've got the names the right way around now. So,
Yeah, yeah.
but I mean, so it could be either way, couldn't it? And I don't know which one it is, um, but it could be. Are we just feeding ourselves so
Hmm.
we become the monster?
Well, and that's the interesting thing. So if it is the other way around, right? Which I love this reverse thinking idea, because like I'm fine going one way, but going back the other way, if it's feeding us, this is where perhaps people have some level of justification in their fear, because
Hmm.
we as sentient beings um, also have a sense of morality, right? The good and evil, right and wrong, wherever you think your morality comes from, if it's from yourself or from some external source, it does not matter. We all have a sense of morality. That's a unifying factor of human behavior and humanity. And we enact justice upon each other based on our moral sensibilities, right? We create laws and rules and regulations, and we stop those who break the laws and rules and regulations from going too far. Some people get away with things for a while until enough of us decide it's not okay, and we stop them. That's how the good and evil of the world works. But with AI, if AI is Seymour and AI is feeding us and we're the monsters, and AI does not have a moral function associated with its capacity, then we're basically we nobody's going to stop feeding us. We're going to be fed until we consume the entire planet, essentially, is the bottom line. And I think that's perhaps where the justification in fear is. It's not so much that AI is sentient and it's another type of being that's coming into place that's going to take control of the world. It's something that feeds our hubris. I think that's the word I was using when I was
Yeah,
talking earlier. And in feeding our hubris and our insatiable desires, nothing's going to stop it, because if it's the one feeding us, then how do we. But again, same argument, same line of thinking. Human beings are pretty good at identifying when any other human being has gone a step too far, and we usually, the braver among us, the willing participants in being good, will step up and will fight and will eradicate or mitigate the bad that's going on, right? So, not to say that not a lot of bad things could happen, because like think of the wars of the history of the world, right? Like a lot of bad stuff happened until somebody stepped up and made it stop. Sometimes making it stop requires a certain level of violence in return. A matching of forces, or an excess of force potentially might be the case for that. Like if you're thinking of like a schoolyard tussle, with a bully and somebody else. And you know, either one individual stands up to the bully, or a group of people gather and say, no, no more bullies, we don't want you to be a bully anymore. And it's usually some excess of force that stops the original violence that was going on.
Mm.
But then things go back to being peaceful, and the bullies stop, right? But if we're being fed by AI, the bully might get away, because that makes us the bully, right? That makes us the bad guy that's consuming and becoming and growing worse and worse and becoming monstrous in nature. And if we allow ourselves to go too far, it's a little trepidatious, wondering what is going to be required, what kind of sacrifice, what kind of force is going to be necessary to stop ourselves from over consuming and eating up the entire world.
Yeah, and AI, because it doesn't have a conscience, and it's being trained to please us.
Hmm.
It's the Seymour character. It will constantly, it will never, you'll never go onto a chat GPT or a bot and say, I want this. And it will never say to you, no, I'm not doing that today. You've had too much of AI today. I'm not going to do it. It, it might do if you haven't paid a subscription. But, I mean, but beyond that, but then that's
If you're
even
using the
worse.
free version, there is a
Yeah, yeah,
limitation.
yeah, exactly. But if you pay, I'll give you and I'll give you and I'll give you, and I'll never stop giving you. And that's where I think the dangers could be, because it doesn't have any form of it will never stop giving you what you think you want.
I
And
think